What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel Chess Magic, and today I'm gonna show you the Stafford Gambit, which is done by Black. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So here, White is going to play E4, and we are going to respond it with E5. This is the natural king's pawn opening, and mostly people play this. Then White will play knight to F3, attacking our pawn on E5. Then we are going to play knight f6. We are not going to support that knight by playing knight c6. And here is when the trap begins. So he's going to capture our e5 pawn. Not We are not going to capture the e4 pawn. Instead, we are going to invite him to trade our knights. So he'll feel that he's already a pawn up, and then he can trade his knights, and still he'll be a pawn up, and it'll be good for him. So when he captures our knight, we are going to capture it back with the queen's pawn. So here there are two variations. He can play pawn to d3. This is first variation. Or the second variation is he can play pawn to e5. So let's first continue with the pawn to d3 variation. So if he plays pawn to d3, we are going to play bishop c5, attacking his f2 pawn. So now he'll play bishop g5, pinning our knight. We are going to sacrifice our queen and then play knight to e4. If your opponent is too greedy and goes to capture our queen, he's gone. Let me show you how. If he captures our queen, we are going to capture the pawn on f2. He needs to move on e2, and then bishop to g4 is a mate. So let's go back. And let's see here. If he doesn't capture our queen and captures our knight, so here we are going to again capture the pawn on f2. He cannot capture our bishop. If he captures our bishop, we are going to capture his queen and gain a solid advantage. So he needs to move to e2. And when he moves to e2, we are going to play bishop g5, giving a check to him. So he needs to capture our bishop, and then we are going to capture his queen and gain a solid advantage. So let's go back. Here, what if he plays bishop to e3? So we are going to, like, he's blocking the f2 square, we can't capture it with our bishop. Then we are going to capture his bishop, and then he'll capture our bishop back with his e3 pawn, f2 pawn, and then we are going to give him a check. So he cannot move on e2. If he moves on e2, queen to f2 is a mate. So let's go back. If he doesn't move on e2 and plays g3, then we are going to capture his pawn. He cannot capture. If he captures, we are going to capture his rook and gain a solid advantage. And let's go back. So here his rook is in attack, so he needs to move it to g1. If he moves his rook to g1, we are going to play knight to e4, giving him a check. So he can only go to e2, and queen to f2 is a mate. So let's go back. And here, if he doesn't move to e2, he needs to block with his rook. So if he blocks with his rook, we are going to capture the h2 pawn. Now his rook is under attack, so he needs to move it. So he's going to attack our queen by playing g2. And then we are going to play queen h4, giving a check to him. Now he cannot block a check with his rook, because then we can capture the rook. So he needs to play king to e2. Now we cannot play queen to f2 mate, because his rook is there. So we are going to instead give him a check by our bishop by playing bishop to g4. Then he will capture our bishop. Then queen to f2 is a mate. So let's go back. And here, if he plays e5, then he's attacking our knight. And then we are going to play e4, knight e4. Then he'll play d3. He'll see that the knight is in the center, and if our knight is in the center, obviously the opponent will get tempered, and he'll feel that we are getting crushed because knight is in the center, so it's a good point for black. So that's why he'll try to remove our knight by playing d3. Then we are going to play bishop c5, attacking the pawn on f2. If he captures our knight, we are going to capture the pawn on f2, and then he needs to go to e2. Then we are going to play bishop g4 check. Now he's forced to capture our bishop, and then we are going to capture his queen, and then we can surely win from here because we have a queen and he doesn't. And I hope you like the video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. So let's meet in the next video.